Hello, hello. Can you guys please unmute yourself and let me know if I'm audible?
Yes, you are audible.
Hi, Dazzle.
Hi, Samiksha.
We'll just wait for 2 more minutes and then we can start. Hello guys. Hello, Jugal, Ripul, Monica.
Yes, ma'am. Good evening.
Good evening. By that time, more people are joining, and any of you would like to introduce yourselves? You guys can also start your videos if you want.
Can I?
Yeah, please, Jugal, go ahead.
Yes. I did my civil engineering 1 month back, and
Okay.
right now I am in Bangalore, and I am opting for BIM engineering. That is
Okay.
there is a modeling field, and in that documentation work and everything is there. But it is also related to somewhat around rendering softwares and other things. So
Okay.
4 months has been completed of my internship, and remaining 3 months are there.
Okay, great. That's very good. Anybody
Thank you.
else? Yeah. We'll wait for 1 more minute and then we can start. I think we are good to go and remaining people can join later on. Let me just start sharing my screen and we can have a brief discussion. Guys, is my screen visible?
Yeah, it's very clear.
Yes. Okay, cool. So I'll just give a little bit of introduction about myself. I am an interior designer and I've studied my degree course in Nagpur University LAD College. And I have an overall experience of over 10 years now in this field. And before starting out my practice in Pune, I've worked in Delhi, Ahmedabad, and also for some time in Nagpur. Now, I've been working in Pune from the past 4 years. Let us begin with our important main topic, how do interior designers charge? So anybody of you who have any insights or inputs to give on this? If you are an interior designer, how do you charge your clients? What is your fee structure? Anybody? Monica, Dazzle?
It totally depends on what kind of projects we are taking. If it is consultancy, it depends. Again, if it is turnkey project, it differs. So likewise, we decide.
Definitely. So let us see what are the important factors that decide a designer's fee. Now, all of you know that there are many new homeowners who generally look out for a professional interior designer these days to get their home done. And it's in trend, it's in vogue these days because earlier people used to do it themselves. They would just purchase ready-made furniture, or they would just hire a carpenter and get the furniture made by their own choices. But the trend is changing these days and people are becoming more aware of how an interior designer can help them out and save on their total project cost, in fact. Now, but the main question that a lot of people have in their mind is they are very unsure and they're confused about how the interior designer charges. because it affects the overall interior design cost of their houses or their offices or whatever spaces they want to get done, right? So the different parameters that usually decide the designer's, entire cost of the design project are given over here. First is your individual requirements and your needs, what you exactly need, what are your requirements, what kind of style do you like in your designs, what is the budget that you have in your mind, because everybody when starting out with getting the work done at their houses, set up a budget. Whether it's 2 lakhs, 10 lakhs, 50 lakhs, they definitely have a budget that they want to spend on the interiors. And the cost of the materials in the market at the time of your project, and the brand of materials that you are going to use, and the labor charges, and the kind of light fixtures that you're going to use, whether they are branded lights or you're purchasing some China local lights, and the type of deal that you are putting up with the designer, whether it's a turnkey project or it's a contractual project, or it's just a consultancy project, right? And the portfolio of the designer who you have hired, because it depends on the designer's years of experience also, and their expertise in the field, and the size of the space that is to be designed. Now, a designer may take up the project in 3 different categories. They may only provide you with the designing, which is generally called as the consultancy. Second is they can also help you out in selecting the furniture, the material, and the decor items. And the third one is if they want a more hassle-free experience, then they can give you the complete contract of the house, which is generally known as a turnkey project, right? So people generally think the designers usually charge a very lump sum amount for the designing, but it's not actually the case, because the price list of the designer is calculated in many different ways depending on the scope of work that they're taking up. To understand that, let us create a flow chart, and I will give you a description of each variety and how they charge, what is their parameters, what are the their schedules of payments, right? So generally, the different working models of an interior designer can be categorized in 4 different categories. The first one is the consultancy basis. That is the client is basically looking for just the designs, or they may also ask you to supervise the work on site. The second one is the turnkey or a contractual basis. The third one is a semi-contractual basis. I'll go in a little bit of deep into this category also. And the fourth one is the hourly basis, which is not very common in India. Right. So let's begin with the consultancy basis. In consultancy basis, again, we can divide it into 3 categories. First one being only designing, that is the client may want you to give only the 3D designs of the space that they want to get done. Second is designing plus working drawings, that is the 2D drawings for the laborers working on the site, right? And the third one is the client may ask you to also supervise on the site. They may have their own material and the working team in this category, right? Now, when we speak of only designing, that is the 3D designing, this is what the client is usually expecting from you, right? These are the 3D realistic visualizations that they want for the spaces, and you charge only for these designs. Now, when we provide 3D designs to the clients, we generally put up a fixed fee. Now, it can be a packaged price also. Say a designer, a client comes to you, approaches you with their 2 BHK home, and they want to get a quotation for the 3D designs of this space, right? So you can give them a package price of 20,000 or 30,000, depending on the place that you're working on and depending on the expertise that you have in these kind of works. Some designers also charge on per room basis. So generally the cost of a view is ranges from 4,000 to 6,000. Again, this can vary according to the designer. Now, when we speak of designing plus working drawing, these are the kind of working drawings that are required on site for the laborers and the vendors to work. And again, this can have a fixed fee with the payment schedule as per the 3D designing and the drawing submission for the sites, right? Now, this is just an example of how you can have a payment schedule fixed with the client. Say you have a total design fee estimated for 90,000 rupees. Now you can put up in 4 to 5 brackets. wherein you can tell the client that before site measurement and say one area that you have taken, living room or an entrance foyer, for that part of designing, you will have a payment of 30,000 in before starting off the design. And similarly, you can divide each area with the amount that you are going to be charging for that. Now, what are the add-on charges which can be included in this category is the iteration charges. Basically, when the client is looking for, say, 3D designs, but they are asking you again and again with a lot of changes, and they want the changes to be done multiple times. So the designers will do it at an extra cost. Make sure that you always tell the client beforehand that these many iterations or these many revisions in the designs are going to be provided without any extra fee, but beyond that will be chargeable. This is very important that the designer transparently tell it to the client before taking up the project. So it's also important for the clients to ask the designer before they, start asking for revision, start asking for number of designs, that how they are going to charge for the different designs. So it's a responsibility on both ends. Now coming to designing plus supervision, if in the consultancy basis, again, the designer is also providing with the supervision as well as the designing, they may charge in two categories again. One is the fixed fee and second is the visit charges, because a number of visits are required by the designers on this side. So some visits may be included in the fee, but beyond that, if the visits are going to be a lot more than what was estimated before taking up the project, then the designer may charge for the visits also. And the second way in which the designer charges is the lump sum fee, or as per the scope of the work. They will just fix an amount and accordingly scope of work is decided. And if the scope of work increases, the designer may charge again extra for the additional works. So when we speak of a fixed fee, which includes the number of visits, now the visit charges can be accumulated and paid at last to the designer from the client, or the designer may ask the client or request the client to pay for each visit every time they visit the site, or if they have to go for material selection or anything beyond the stipulated time that they're given for the project, right? So here I will just put a clause from a contract wherein designer shall make a weekly site visit. This is the promised site visit or the number of visits that the designer is giving for a period of 10 weeks. That is the estimated timeline for the project from the date the kickstart of the site execution has been started. And the designer may by choice make extra site visits on the site if they deem required. Now, one visit per week is what the designer is promising, but if the designer feels that this is not enough or there's some urgency in the site, they can by choice make an extra visit which they will not charge for, and shall not be forced to visit the site by customer or any agency. It is very important that the designer tell it beforehand again that no extra visits will be made by client's request or carpenter's request, because they are going to give you a call every day, ma'am please aa jao site pe and ek baar hame bata do ki kaise kaam karna hai, kya karna hai. But you do not have to entertain it at all. You have to be very stringent and very strict in your proposals. And site visits or market visits for material selections after 10 visits or after 10 weeks of execution period will be chargeable on per site basis. Now it differs from place to place. Usually it's around 1,500 to 2,000 rupees per visit. Now, what are the add-on charges that we've discussed here is the visit charges and the site supervision charges. If it is not included in the designing charges, the designer may ask for additional charges for site supervision. Now, when we speak of turnkey projects, again, it can be divided into two categories, how the designer charges. First one is the percentage basis, which is usually 10 to 15% in many cities, but it can shoot up to 20% also, depending on the designer's expertise involved in the project. And when we speak of percentage basis, the 10% of the designing fee is charged in advance, and post that, the big companies like LivSpace, Homeland, and all these big companies are generally charging 40% to, getting the work into factory production, giving the products into production. So they charge 40% in advance before that, and they get the site work started until then. like false ceiling, civil work, electrical work, and all of those. And the remaining balance of the 50% of the quotation is generally done before installation of these items. When the modular furniture has been prepared and is ready to be installed, they have to pay 50% again in advance to get the things installed on site. Now, second category is the square feet basis charge, which again differs from the kind of materials that you want to use, the designer's expertise, the area that you're located in. Generally, designer's fee is 50 rupees square feet to 500 rupees square feet. Now, it depends if it is a new designer or it is an expert designer, so they'll charge it accordingly. And the interior work, the cost of the material, the cost of the labor, the cost of the supervision may range from 1,500 to 3,000 rupees per square feet. Now, in this category, again, 10% design fees charged in advance in all the cases, whether it's just the designing, it's a contractual basis, it's a semi-contractual basis. Advance fee generally is what the designer charges. And the remaining amount after that, if you have taken up a contractual basis or a turnkey basis, the designer may communicate with you through the project कि अब इतने amount का payment का जरूरत है, then you can make this payment and we'll get the materials on site. अब हमें काम start करना है, labor को पैसे देने हैं, तो they will charge you accordingly. And just because कई बार clients देना नहीं चाहते पूरे पैसे in advance, तो they keep 5 to 10% of the amount as a balance. जो पूरा काम कंप्लीट होने के बाद वो देते हैं डिजाइनर्स को या कॉन्ट्रैक्टर्स को. Speaking of semi contractual basis, if it is a semi contractual project, which means कि material हो सकता है client अपनी तरफ से लाए and they just want designer का team and the contractors to work on site, या हो सकता है कि उनको designers का material चाहिए or client is ready to give their own team. They may have their own contacts, they may have their carpenters to work on site. Now, in this case, a fixed fee may be charged. If the scope of work increases, the amount of fee will also increase, and that is to be paid to the designer. And in case अगर designer material लाता है, so they will definitely charge a markup price on the products, which basically means कि आपका sofa अगर 20,000 का है, तो designer will charge you 22,000. So 2,000 rupees they will keep as their profit on that material. So this is the premium that the designer charges, and it again differs from project to project. And आपका कितना budget रहा है, आपका estimate कितना निकल के आया है, उस पे depend करेगा. Now, any questions, any queries that you might have until now?
Yes, ma'am. Can I ask?
Yeah, please go ahead.
Yeah, honestly, if someone is interested into designing work like interior designing, 3D visualization, okay, like me, then being in a technical field, if he wants to go into the designing field, then first of all, what kind of mindset he needs to make, then what type of skills he need to make, like material knowledge, then software knowledge, anything like that. So according to your experience, how should a person have a mindset in an interior designing field?
Okay, so if you are basically changing your fields, or if you are increasing your skill set according to interior designing, and अगर आप मान लो civil engineer हो या आप एक 3D modeler हो, and if you want to go into interior designing, you definitely have to first work under an architect or an interior designer to gain some experience. And as far as the software are concerned, तो software आपके basic, अगर आप 3D modeling कर रहे हैं, तो you are well versed with 3D Max or SketchUp or Revit. ये सारे बहुत कॉमन सॉफ्टवेयर्स हैं जो जनरली आजकल सभी लोगों को आते हैं, राइट? अगर नहीं आते हैं तो आपको ये लर्न करना पड़ेगा. डिजाइनर्स के लिए हाउएवर AutoCAD इज मोस्ट इंपॉर्टेंट, बिकॉज सारी टेक्निकल ड्राइंग्स या 2D ड्राइंग्स जो है वो आपकी इसी पे ही बनती है, AutoCAD पे. सो ओनली 3D ड्राइंग्स या 3D विजुअलाइजेशन सॉफ्टवेयर्स आर नॉट इनफ इन दैट केस.
ओके.
एंड मार्केट नॉलेज के लिए अगेन यू कैन गो आउट इन द मार्केट्स एंड रिसर्च कर सकते हो, आप अपने कॉन्टैक्ट्स बना सकते हो, हैव योर आप डिफरेंट डीलर से, वेंडर से जाके प्रोडक्ट्स के प्राइसेस का नॉलेज ले सकते हो. सो दिस वे यू आल्सो हैव अ मार्केट नॉलेज, राइट? एंड अगर आप किसी आर्किटेक्ट या इंटीरियर डिजाइनर के अंडर में काम कर रहे हो, तो उससे भी आपको काफी नॉलेज इसकी ऑलरेडी मिल जाती है. यू डोंट हैव टू एक्चुअली गो ऑन द साइड, सड़कों पे घूमने की आपको फिर अकेले जरूरत नहीं है उस चीज के लिए.
और मैम मैं ना जरूरी नहीं है कि है ना उसके लिए इंटर डिजाइनिंग का मास्टर्स करना ही पड़ेगा या फिर बैचलर करना पड़ेगा वापस
Not
से?
at all, not at all, not at all. Because
Okay.
very honestly, when I did my degree course, I came to know, and when I started my job, तब मुझे पता चला कि मेरी जो बॉस है उसने तो डिप्लोमा कर रखा था 1 साल का और मैं डिग्री कोर्स करके गई थी. सो इट इज नॉट एट ऑल इम्पोर्टेंट कि आपको कोई डिग्री या मास्टर लेकर ही इंटीरियर डिजाइनर आप बन सकते हो. दैट्स नॉट एट ऑल रिक्वायर्ड.
थैंक यू मैम, थैंक यू सो मच.
Yeah. Anybody else? Okay. So, if you are a designer, what are the challenges that you usually face? Is what I want to know from you guys. Getting new clients या नए projects पकड़ने में लेने में दिक्कत आती है, पता नहीं है कि कैसे new projects मिलेंगे. Or you want to maintain a cordial relationship with the client, because a lot of time जब आपका project start होता है तब तक तो आपके बहुत अच्छे relations रहते हैं client के साथ, but as the project proceeds तो कई बार दिक्कतें आ जाती हैं, कुछ ना कुछ मिसमैनेजमेंट मिसकम्युनिकेशन होता है और क्लाइंट्स के साथ आपका रिलेशनशिप खराब होने लग जाता है. एंड इट यूजुअली हैपेंस इन टर्नकी प्रोजेक्ट्स अकॉर्डिंग टू माय एक्सपीरियंस. And the third one is deciding or calculating your fee or the project cost, because you do not know the material prices. You are clueless about कि मैं इसका कितना amount fix करूं या इसमें मेरी fee कितनी होनी चाहिए. And the third one is collecting or asking for payment from client, because this is something that I have struggled for years, because पैसे मांगने में हमें शर्म आती है, client को खुद से देने में कभी उसको लगता नहीं है कि हमें खुद से दे देना चाहिए. So this is a very common problem among a lot of designers, a lot of new designers especially. And fifth one is the technical knowledge, कि हमें materials की knowledge नहीं है, हमें drawings का knowledge नहीं है कि कैसे इस चीज की detail बनेगी. तो इनमें से what do you think is something that you face as a challenge in your everyday?
For me, fetching out the money from a client is a bit difficult task.
Yeah, yeah. Anybody else?
Right now, technical knowledge that you have discussed, but still some research is being required from my side to get about how technical knowledge we need to gain as a interior designing.
Definitely. Acha Jugal, I want to ask you, why do you want to change your field of work? Why do you want to become an interior designer?
Actually, after completing 4 years of BTech civil engineering, okay, I came to know that currently I'm in a BIM engineering field, but still my interest is more into rendering this floor plans, then 3D models, then interior work. So side by side, if I get knowledge about interior designing, then I can also work in that field.
Okay, okay, great, great, great. Nice. So anybody else? Getting new clients is what you struggle with mostly. Okay. So, all right. So what I've done over here is I put up the link and a QR code for my WhatsApp group. If you want to have more such sessions with your queries, you want to get clarified with your queries. So this group will basically be like a community where we can have a discussion on these topics that we have already seen in the previous slide. Or if you want to share something, if you want to organize your own seminars or meetings, then we can have that also over here. So you can take up this QR code and send me request to join the group, or I'll just share this link with you guys in the chat box. You can join my WhatsApp group also from here. Let me know how did you like this session? Was this helpful? Was this educative enough? Then we can wrap up and we can look ahead for the next call.
Yes, it was definitely helpful, because for me, the knowledge for Tunky project was a bit less, and you guided well. Thank you so much, Samiksha.
Thank you, Dazzle. Thanks a lot.
Yes, means in our field, mostly people don't tell the how much money they are taking, but still you came up and you told that this is the exact value that people are taking. Some people are there who are money minded. They will never tell that how much money I am earning or how I am taking charge as a interior designing. But you told the clarity in this, so many people can now start their work based upon the taking this as a benchmark price. So
Definitely,
that was
definitely. That's great that you got something out of the session. And all the best,
yes.
all of you. And let us meet again in the next call. Thank you.